All right, everyone. So today's lesson is, so we've been learning about chords, right? And like how to play them, right? Our major chord, right? Having 3 notes in between, right? In the traditional way, right? Our minor chord having 2 notes in between, right? When it's the 1, 3, 5, right? All right, so we've talked about what makes up a chord, right? It being a major chord being the 1, the 3, and the 5 of a major scale, right? So right now we're gonna mess around with just in the key of C. So our C major chord in the key of C, right, is C, E, and G. So as long as I'm playing those notes, C, E, and G, in any formation, it's gonna be a C major chord. So like I said, we're gonna learn about this thing called inversions. I can change this chord around. So let's say I wanna drop off this C and I wanna play this C up here. Guess what? That's still a C major chord. That's just called an inversion. So we can go, but instead of playing with 2 hands, because we're going to be messing around with the melody in our right, we can move up. And that's what our first inversion looks like. Okay? So let's go again, right? C, E, G. Our first inversion is when we drop the first note, the bass note, right? And we're going to move it, play it above the rest of the notes, which is up here. This is the next C I can play. So now we have E, G, C. All right? That's our first inversion. If we're now gonna go to our second inversion, we're gonna drop the next note, all right? Which is E, and we're gonna play the E, the next possible place, which is here. That's still a C. And as you can tell, when we drop this, right? When we drop the G and move it back up, we're back to our standard formation, our normal formation. So let's review that, okay? So when we go to play our C major chord in standard formation, right? We have our pinky on C, our middle finger on E, and our thumb on G, right? Any formation of C, E, and G is gonna be a C major chord, right? Our first inversion is when we drop our bass out and we move everything up. Our pinky now is playing E, our ring's playing G, and we're moving our thumb now to play C up here, okay? Now if I drop my pinky off of E, all right, and I now put my pinky, you know, I'm gonna drop the E and I'm gonna move the E up here, right? So my pinky's gonna move to G, my middle finger is gonna be playing C, and then my thumb now is gonna be playing G. That's my second inversion. And then like I said, we're back to standard after that. And you can do that with all of the chords. For instance, here's a D major, right? We talked about D major, right? 3 notes in between, 1, 2, 3, right? So there's our D major. Okay, now if we want to invert that, we would drop the D and we put our pinky onto, what is that? We're F sharp, our middle finger onto A, and then we're gonna play like the thumb on D up here. So let's review that, I can explain that better. So here's our D major. The notes that are in D major is D, F sharp, and A. Any combination of D, F sharp, and A is gonna be a D major. So we're gonna move the D note up to here with our thumb, and now we're gonna play our pinky. All this is done with our left hand, by the way. Our pinky is gonna be playing F sharp, our middle finger is gonna be playing A, and then our thumb's gonna be playing D. Okay, now we're gonna do our second inversion where we drop the F sharp, and we're gonna move the F sharp up. So our pinky's gonna move over here to the A, our middle finger is gonna be playing D, and then our thumb is gonna be playing F sharp over here. Okay, so inversions, right? Okay? It looks that way across the board. All right? Take your time though, okay? This is, that last one wasn't right. But take your time with this, okay? What I want you to do now is I want you to work with, in the key of C to get used to playing all the notes in your key of C with different inversions. So here's C, right? We're gonna go to our inversion here, right? Inversion there. And be able to use that. Now let's go to D minor, right? The chords that we have in the key of C are C major, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor, B diminished, and then back to C, right? What I want you to do now is I want you to get used to C major, right? And do all the inversions. Now we're gonna do D minor. And look at the inversions for D minor. Okay? And because what this is eventually gonna allow you to do, here, I'll show you a quick example. Ready? It's going to allow you to play chord progressions without having to move much. So here's our 3, right? Our E minor, right? All right, now how can we invert that? We drop the E, bring it over here, right? And what else can we do? We can also bring this over here. And if you notice, a C major is just that. So to make a C major to an E minor, all we'd have to do is drop our pinky one. So this is our 1 to 3. So inversions allow us to play, you know, chord progressions without having to move a lot. We'll obviously get more into that later, but for now, I want you to just be practicing doing your your standard, first inversion, and second inversion. All right, and getting used to that with all of the chords in the key of C.